So I'm here with Dr. Lowell Kabnick. We're at IVC Miami 2025. We've been having numerous discussions today about all of the sessions, but one of the things that I wanted to discuss is the latest with VLU and where it's going. You now, from what I understand from talking to Dr. Canata, you're now at 1,600 members. You just came back from a humanitarian trip to Mexico where you've had a profound effect on the treatment of about 70 or 75 patients, which is tremendous. So where's this going? What's your vision coming for the next couple of years?
So approximately 3 years ago, I came up with an idea of this give back because I'm at the pinnacle of my career, and it was time to say, hey, what can I do to give back so that people don't make the same mistakes, people learn, etc. So I still spoke to Victor Canata, who had the same idea, and we joined forces, obviously being in the United States and Victor in South America, and we started to progress. We started to invite people, and we're probably up to 3,500 faculty members.
Wow.
And it's really been exponential. So we started off with Voices, which is edited by 𝗺𝗲𝗀𝗶𝗶, and that turned into really kind of type thing with podcasting, as well as looking at current literature, and then we would interview the authors and really expand on that. From there, it went to webinar, and webinars really took off. Our first webinar series was about the HER group. Came from in terms of trying to figure out how to get our colleagues involved in teaching, because we know that in the past, all of our conferences have been what we call man-alls. And so this is what we tried to do. And that was so well received industry that we did another one, again, well received. We also have done other webinars in terms of education. So where are we going? I think that's a great
where's
question.
This going?
The sky's the limit. But really the important part of this is the humanitarian part. It approaches one, people in need. Two, it's a teaching mechanism, which is what I'm really about, or what we are really about. And when we were in Mexico, it just brought back, the happiness of seeing a vascular fellow light up, and you could just watch it. So I was the last case, and I involved, it was lower extremity bilateral. And so the vascular residents there scrubbed. We were the scrub person. They were assisting us. So the first lady went beautifully. She followed me all along. It was remarkable.
Okay.
And I said, are you ready? And she said, 100% yes.
Okay.
And so I gave her the ultrasound probe. I gave her the needle. And then there were 20 residents in the operating room. They all took out their phone. They all started taking pictures.
Very nice.
And she got right in. Bam. And everybody started clapping. And you could just see me smile.
Yeah, she got it.
And so from there, we're going to look at next year going to Vietnam.
Okay.
Maybe the following year.
Okay.
But it's a limit. And the fortunate thing is that this year we started off with the humanitarian project. We're really supported by Turkey. And I think that our U.S. colleagues now understand what we're doing. And although there were a few that helped us, we were basically looking for in-kind grants for equipment. And that's where we were given some of that. And now people are saying, yeah, when can I help?
This is great.
And so one of the things that I would love to do is not necessarily going outside of the USA, but perhaps looking at Indian reservations, there's need that we can participate. We did trial this originally in Paraguay with Dr. Canata.
Okay.
And it was wonderful. That was another good experience. We went to the medical school. We taught there, and there's some interesting things happening in South America, things that we don't have necessarily following in the United States.
Right.
And I think that's amazing. We're not saying that we're proponents, but we're exposing things that are happening. For example, there are tube makers, and there are none here in the U.S.
Right.
that generate foam. And so we saw that, and we're not saying one's better than the other or even that it's better than what we're doing, but it's there. I saw endovenous ablation, laser on the truncal vein, and then they stuck laser fibers in each one of the varicose veins. And I saw that and I said, gee, this looks like the porcupine technique. And that's where the porcupine came out. And they're doing it. And reality was, when I first started doing laser in the early 2000s, I actually saw somebody in Europe doing a hand vein, and they actually inserted the laser fiber. They put an ice block on it and shot the vein, and I'm okay. So and this is we want to. There are different ways of tackling the same problem.
Right.
And that's
tremendous effort.
Now, the real important thing is, how do we get to this stage? How do a vascular fellow, a fellow of interest that wants to get into this field, and how do they learn what to do? So this is where we're about. And it's not only them how to do a history, a physical, an examination, but what's important out there? How do we look at solving our problems? And so we all know that when you go through a history and physical, that you come up with a differential diagnosis. And how do you prove that differential diagnosis? You need to learn duplex ultrasound.
Right.
As much as I rely on my good buddy here, who is the world-class act in duplex ultrasound.
I appreciate that.
So I do rely on them, but I also know how to do my own ultrasound. And I think that's really important. You do actually help me out, because this is what you do all the time.
Right.
I don't do duplex ultrasound all the time. But when I'm in question, I'm picking up that probe and I'm going to do my own duplex.
Physicians, and I feel very strongly too, the way you do, physicians should be able to pick up that probe and look for themselves.
100%.
They should.
100%.
Yeah.
Because when I was at NYU, we had some rock stars there. And I looked at the patient, I did the history and physical, I came up with my idea, then I looked at the ultrasound report. There was something missing there in my head.
Right.
So I picked up the ultrasound and I looked at this thing and I said,
Yeah.
And I went back to the ultrasonographer and I said, what do you think? And they said, yeah, we're duplex sophisticated and really need, it's not the primary treatment, it's the redo. And that's important.
Right. Well,
and so another scenario with that one was, I thought this ultrasonographer had made an error. I brought her in. I was wrong. So it's a team approach.
For sure.
And that's the important part of what I'm saying. And the faculty are superb. Yeah.
No, I get it. Please, for the go-round, you're going to go to Vietnam. Please include me. I would love to
100%
be part of
if we
this.
can. Sure.